Hello, YouTube fans, here again, and I think of Steven Spielberg, why not this one? Now, after the bid out in 1981's bid it film being Raiders of the Lost Ark with George Lucas, Steven Spielberg decided to do sort of a sequel, originally, I would say. And originally it was going to be Raiders of the Lost Ark 2, believe it or not. Even though he never does sequels, he was going to do that with George Lucas, believe it or not. Now, at the time, Asian Asian Ching, remember her name? Nancy Iron, decided that she was going to do another film called Starman, so she couldn't get the role of doing the role Marion, so she couldn't prize the role. And they looked at the strip and decided instead of going back for the Art of Covenant, because wanted it like a adventure, a serial comic, why not make an adventure instead? So instead of being called Raiders, they named it from the hero himself, being Indiana, and that's why I always went mad when people said Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. No, it wasn't. This was when they called it Inda. So the name was called Indiana Jones. They decided to make it more of a prequel. It was called Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and the rest is history. So we're going to go with it. Now, we all know at the time Harrison Ford was going to prize the role as Inda. They felt after all the ones who was going to originally play the role, originally was going to be Tom Selleck, let's not forget, he would definitely be the man with the whip. So he'd come back to prize his role. He worked out a lot more. He went to the gym. Definitely worked out to prize that role. So I had to loot Harrison Ford for that. They wanted to find a new love interest, and originally it was going to be Simon Stone. That's right, Simon Stone. But she never got the role. Instead, she sort of like an Indiana Jones spin off one thereafter, that being King Solomon's Mind. And so they got another actress, very funny, very pretty at that time. And funny enough, the day after this film, she actually married the man himself, being Steven Spielberg. Now at the time, I could be right, I could be wrong. I think Steven Spielberg was going through a rough time, so he wanted to make this a lot darker, a lot more horror, a lot more to do with black magic and all this. And it's funny because the original one, being Raiders of the Lost Ark, was based on 1935. Oh, do I lie? Actually, I made a mistake. It was based on 1936. This is the one that's 35. It's fucking my brain. So, Raiders of the Lost Ark was supposed to be based on 1936. However, this one where I messed up was based on 1935, which does have that in the opening. There's a making back in the day, and you see the work of what they've done, the dance moves, everything, the bit where they put the books and all the actors and actresses. They definitely went through a hell, and I mean a hell of a lot. Now, instead of putting this one in Egypt, they decided to put this one in the Indian jungle. Which I kind of like that. It made it different, it made it unique. You got one guy in it. You think you've seen him before. He's been in a lot of films. You might remember him in Food to a Kill, one day before this. He pays Indy's mate, sort of via, he gets double tossed, he gets killed. It's like sad. And he meets the girl who's sort of like, the dad making like a dishy, sort of like a Marilyn Monroe sort of character, which is the total opposite from the other dude, being Nancy Iron. So I don't like that idea. It makes it different. So again, you got the day Indiana Jones theme, you got Sorties, another character. But I would give this film something. I'd give it something. It's definitely a lot darker and a lot more fire. It took us years to see this film, and it's still not uncut in this country. The only way to see it uncut is probably from an American site, right? Because there's a bit in it, it's in the film, but it's a lot more graphic. Because there's a scene in it where you've got this Indian sort of dye, voodoo, it's not like voodoo, black magic and all this, and he attaches this dye with these magic stones, and he literally rips his heart out, and then sorts. He rips his heart right out. Now, yeah, you see it in the film, but in the uncut one, it's more graphic, it's more brutal. Puts his hand right in, rips the heart, you got a bit of blood, the chest heals up, very graphic. There's a lot more of him burning on fire. He's singing this song, and every minute you see the heart beating, and then it just goes on fire a lot more longer than what you see on the cut version. I chose to the test order. It's the bit where it's burned on fire. It's a bit with a mannequin dummy effect. Because it feed the audience out, that trim some of it down. That's the version we've now got. But in the American one, you want to see it in its local jewellery, you can do. There's a bit where Shorty gets ripped as well as the scene with Inda. Because it was a kid, they felt that was a bit thingy, so that was trimmed down. I don't like this film because I think this film's a bit ballsy. You see kids getting ripped, the slaves, you see arms and legs and arts getting ripped out. And in America, this was one of the very early films to be different at PG-13. It's definitely, I think, for a PT in this country, it's definitely a ballsy film. If you thought Raiders of the Lost Ark was a ballsy film, Temple of Doom is the second one, but it's ballsy. It was only a lot of years later when they did The Last Crusade, decided to mile that down because, believe it or not, I could be right, I could be wrong, Steven Spielberg regretted making this darker. He wanted to make it a bit more lighter when he did the next one, being The Last Crusade. And but I like this. I think it's a fun ride. It does have horror in it, just like Raiders had a bit of horror in it. And it's doing that fencer feel. It's an fencer film of balls, something you don't see nowadays. Now I do know the research of roller coaster ride. I love the bit where they're on the thingy track. It's going down here, it's going there, it's jumping a toss. To me, it's a fun ride. I love the bit where Indy's going with Shorty and the thing goes down. You got them spikes, and then you got the scene where the woman's going in. You got all the bugs, the cheapy Torlix. It's really oof. It's managed to pull them and get them out in the nick of time. Does have a bit of humour in it. I love the bit where they're eating the thing, they're eating the monkey's brains, and they cut the snake open, you got baby snakes coming out. It's definitely a ballsy film. It's definitely ballsy. So you got that say the Indian die, and I love the bit where they're timing the bids, and they're trying to save his Matic stones, and the baddie's got Indy by his chest. If you sort of pull his heart out, that's hurting. But then, lucky enough, Indy gets a lucky hit in the face. But by accident, he gets one of the Matic stones. It burns his fucking hand. Falls to his death, and crocodiles decide to eat him, and that did fucking hurt. I'll pull my fucking heart out. So yeah, he gets eaten up, and he gets the dough. Snogs to do, you got that date song. I love that song, I always have done. It does have a different feel to it, and it's one of them we know Indy's fate is going to live and all this because it's more of a prequel. It's one there before they did Raiders being 1936. This was based on 1935, and I'm repeating myself, but it is. It is. But I like this one because you get more of a feel, you get more of the Indy character. At first, he doesn't believe in the magical stones, he doesn't believe that his magic powers, which you can entirely see when you get to the next one, even though it was the original, it really messes me up. He believes all that with the Art of the Covenant and the evil spirits and all that. And this is very technical. It's only when he sees for himself. At first, you could buy going into it for deed, fortune and jewelry. Where in the other ones, he's not like that. So I can kind of see why you can see that being more of a prequel. And this is a good one. This is that fencer feel. And this is the film I miss. This is when Harrison Ford was in his heyday. He looks great. He's working out. Now, I do know, like in Raiders, originally going to be a scene where the bad guy's waving his swords around, and he's going to have an epic sword fight, and he's going to use his rip, and because of the timing and everything, and so much money, they had to improvise it. So instead, Indy shoots the guy. Funny scene, but no, so instead, I think they decided to use that idea when he did Temple of Doom. It's like that. Instead of him having a sword fight with one guy, he's having sword fights with all the others. Which you can kind of see how they improvised that when they did the original, being Raiders, because it was this is a prequel. So probably I'm thinking maybe Indiana Jones got Rise of, or this time I'm going to make sure I have me done. I'm not going for all this sword fighting shit. He's got a sword, I've got a gun. Bang, you're dead. Let's go on. That's probably how I look at it. But I like this one. It's my second favourite. Last Crusade I also love. And this is also my next favourite. So for that, fuck it. An 8-star rating for me. But into them, be smart, be safe. See you later.